This woman was about to learn that she can't do whatever she wants without consequences, because when she randomly started grabbing bags filled with trash and tearing them open, spilling garbage all over the ground, a man who saw it asked her to stop, but she didn't care and even began throwing her food at him, as well as on the ground. She then went back to tearing apart the trash bags, but also she started insulting the man. And then this happened. What do you think about his reaction?
Men don't care about women's money. We don't care about women's competence. We don't care about women's height. We don't care about all the things that you care about in a man. Attraction isn't symmetrical, it's asymmetrical. You became the man that you want, so all these other guys that you're meeting, they don't qualify for you. But the only guy that did meet your standards, guess what? You didn't qualify for him. I'm looking at you and I'm saying, you know what? You could hit the gym.
Just to lose weight. I don't want a man who's only going to judge me based on my size.
We don't want a woman that's only gonna base us based off our height. I'm 6'4", he's 5'8". But you said that he's disqualified because he's 5'8".
I didn't judge his character.
But you judge his height and he doesn't qualify for you. The same way he doesn't qualify for you, with your figure, a lot of guys you won't qualify for.
Give me a second. He's just...
I was never speaking down on you. I was speaking to the queen in you. The man, he has a fool in him, but he also has a king in him. And that woman should always speak to the king in him. A woman has a fool in her, but she also has a queen in her. Me speaking to the fool in her would have been, you just as good as...
If you could eliminate one thing from the world, what would you eliminate?
Narcissist.
Toxic feminism.
For most men, regard is the one non-debatable in connections. It's really not necessary to focus on superficial points of interest, six-figure compensations, or who's making a garbage run. It's tied in with being esteemed personally. However, how about we be genuine? A few present-day ladies appear to completely have missed that reminder. There's this developing insight that numerous ladies treat regard as a discretionary extra, doling it out just when it's advantageous, or, more awful, when there's something to acquire. This dismissal cuts profound, leaving men feeling unacknowledged, similar to their only placeholders in connections that apparently accentuate fairness. The incongruity is rich. When men decide to ease off, burnt out on feeling underestimated and disregarded, they're the ones painted as the issue, similar to their upsetting the sensitive biological system of present-day dating by not simply getting with the times. As though concluding they merit fundamental regard out of nowhere makes them the reprobate. This distinction reduces to changing social elements and frequently clashing needs, where regard has some way or another become a failed-to-remember language. In any case, here's the kicker. Regard is a two-way road. Assuming that connections will be anything over void titles and Instagram posts, all kinds of people need to bring it back into the situation, proudly. All things considered, on the off chance that regard's not in the blend, why bother?
Wait for it. Hey.
Oh, hell no!
What? Jennifer Gilbo riding in Shoel Mahmoud's car when out of nowhere she appears to snap, lunging at the Uber driver, dousing him with pepper spray. Shoel picked up Jennifer and a friend on West 46th Street, but when they got to 65th and Lex, things quickly went south early Wednesday morning. What? Shoel insists he hadn't said a word to the ladies. The other passenger appears just as stunned.
Done what?
Repeatedly asking her friend why she was doing this, Jennifer would only say,
Get him out.
Get him out. In the first few seconds, Shoel tells me he tried to get out, but his seatbelt was on. Police did arrest Jennifer. She's charged with assault and now has a lawyer who at this point is not commenting.
Justice has been served.
Outside is only dangerous because of men, which is true. Statistically, violence, men.
That isn't true. Let's get to the root cause of things. Manipulation happens when you focus on the effects and you don't go to the calls. So the root of it is that without a man and you were just here, you would have been eaten by a lion, a tiger, and bear. And guess what? If the lions and tigers and bears didn't get you, you wouldn't have the ability to gather enough calories for you to last. Because a woman can't manipulate the world how a man can. So let me explain to you how a world would operate with only women and only men. When men get together, we know, oh, he's stronger here, he has this skill here, he got this. Let the best person work this skill, and that creates a hierarchy from top down. When a woman get together, what you think about, you're all emotional. So you're tiptoeing all the time, and you're looking at the sensitivity levels in this woman and that woman because you know that you are sensitive. So what you do is you start looking at everything in an egalitarian sense to equalize everything. You get two, you get two, you get two, you get two. The men don't operate like that. Did you do enough to get two? If you ain't do enough, you're not getting two. You get zero. Put in that work and then you get that. This is why on the survival series, men, they was cleaning water fast, building fires fast, because they created that hierarchy. They put the best person in position first. The women, they was trying to do everything equal and by committee, so they couldn't create any order and any structure. The world wouldn't be safer without men. Nature killed more people than any wars and anything you could never imagine. And men, we built infrastructure to protect the woman from nature.
Just take a look at this evolving story called Female Fugitives. Why is pink collar crime on the rise? And I think you'll see what I'm getting at here. Of course, it starts by punching at men, but now even the feminist media can't ignore the facts. Men commit more crimes than women do. A lot more. This holds true over time and across cultures. In America, the incarceration capital of the world, more than 2 million detainees, males comprise 93% of the prison population.
These numbers, they just don't add up.
Men also account for 73% of all arrests and 80% of those charged with violent crimes. This disparity between the sexes is particularly stark when it comes to murder. 90% of the time, the ones who do the killing are men. All these numbers add up to what criminologists call the gender gap. But
here we go.
Read enough academic journals and government crime reports and some curious facts emerge. While crime rates in the Western world have steadily declined over the past 3 decades, the number of young women being convicted for violent crimes in some Western countries has increased significantly. Law enforcement records indicate the opposite is true for their male counterparts. In other words, the gender gap is closing.
Wow.
In some UK cities, the number of female arrests increased by 50% from 2015 to 2016. That's more than a blip. A 2017 report by the Institute for Criminal Policy Research at Birkbeck, University of London, came up with this sobering data point. The global female prison population has surged by more than half since the turn of the century, while the male prison population increased by just a fifth over that same period. Women and girls may account for only 7% of all incarcerated people today, but their numbers are now growing at a much faster rate than at any time in recorded history. Well, would you look at that? Turns out that when women are thrown into the lion's den that men have scrapped in for centuries, suddenly the demands and the pressure that comes with them make them not just as reckless, but more than we ever were. If male crime rates spiked like this over such a short period of time, the global media frenzy would be all over it. Titles like The Disease of Masculinity or Why Women Are Needed More Than Ever would be in circulation for weeks. Now, part of that just has to do with the potential men have when they put effort into something. But the real reason we don't hear about these stats is that women continue to be coddled as if they still don the apron and make pancakes in the morning. Much of Western society still sees the innocence of the kinds of chicks people would see in the 1920s. But we're not dealing with flapper girls and risque ankle photos anymore. The women of today don't even resemble what they continue to pretend to be in the public eye.
Hi, ma'am. Do you have stuff in your coat right now? Employees said they saw you stuff from your basket into your jacket.
No, I just put all my stuff back because I was supposed to meet my other half here and he never showed up. I just tried calling him, actually.
Okay, so if we search your jacket, we're not going to find any items. I'll give you an opportunity right now to take everything out, but it's going to be your one and only opportunity.
Okay, fine. I have a hat and gloves.
All right, there we go.
It's just cold outside. I don't have any money and I just want a hat and gloves.
You don't have hat or gloves? I'll buy these for her.
Thank you. Are you serious? Thank you.
But don't do this, okay? I know it's tough, but there's other ways. Call us for help, all right?
Oh, sure, when a man does it, it's smutty. But if a woman did it...
So who's the head honcho here? You tell me! Come on, kiss me! Kiss me! And tell me who's the head honcho here! What, I'm not hot enough for you? I'm not hot enough? I'm not sexy enough? Fucking spit on you! Tell me I'm fucking hot! Tell me I'm fucking sexy! Tell me! Tell me! Tell me!
Something is wrong with you!
Jennifer Gilbo's ridiculous pepper splash assault on a Uber driver focuses a light on an issue that is seldom tended to: the rising pattern of female criminal way of behaving. This isn't simply an oddball case. It's important for a greater, upsetting example that conflicts with the old-fashioned conviction that ladies are some way or another normally leaned to be gentler. Regardless, episodes like this uncover a preparing issue where certain people, powered by radicalized misinterpretations of women's rights, go about like men are expendable obstructions instead of accomplices or partners. This wound view doesn't simply strain connections. It crushes the essential regard expected for any genuine association. Let's not mince words. Women's rights was never expected to be tied in with destroying men to lift ladies up. Genuine women's rights is about balance, equivalent regard, and an acknowledgement of one another's assets. However, when woman's rights is seized by the people who use it as a weapon for predominance and aggression, we're left with division, not solidarity, and a division splitting apart people. Anyway, what's the arrangement? It's time we return to essentials. Regard and fairness aren't debatable. They're the establishment for building a good society. Disregard the extreme posing. Genuine advancement comes from cooperating, not tearing each other down.
Most people don't realize it, but they probably are neighbors, co-workers, friends, or acquaintances with either a pink-collar criminal or someone who has been embezzled by a pink-collar criminal. A pink-collar criminal can be a PTA mom, your dentist office manager, and yes, even someone's grandma. The statistics on pink-collar criminals are alarming. According to the FBI, male embezzlers have increased only 4% since 1990, while pink-collar criminals have increased over 40% during that time period. While the rise in crime on the side of men and possible reasons can be negated by population growth and other common factors, a 40% increase can't. It's a development that would make any rational person look over the data and do everything they can to understand why this has been so significant. But, as I said, the media turns a blind eye to this stuff because it doesn't serve the message that women are naturally pacifists, devoid of violence or corrupt intentions, even if the evidence is replayed constantly all around us.
Anybody else realize that children born in 2023 potentially live to see the year 3000?
At this moment, it appears as though everybody's treading lightly for her, excessively reluctant to call her out on her way of behaving. Why? Since her rage is serious to the point that individuals simply evade her out and out, trusting they can avoid the following explosion. This evasion strategy isn't helping anybody. Regardless, it's simply letting her activities continue without some kind of restraint, while every other person experiences peacefully. It's work of art. She realizes her annoyance scares individuals, and in light of the fact that no one has the spine to confront her, she has free rein to continue to carry on. Individuals think facing her is a bet, so they follow the easy way out, which just feeds the cycle.
The pink-collar crime lady says she isn't surprised that female arrest rates are going up. Women suddenly have the financial pressures that men have had for decades. They're the breadwinners in 40% of all households. If these women can't pay the bills, some will resort to committing crimes.
How the tables have turned.
The new crime trend hasn't gone unnoticed. The National Herald ran this story last month. Greek cops nab teen girl pickpocket ring in Athens. And here's a recent BBC News headline. Sharp rise in women caught carrying knives, up 73% in the past 5 years. Even Insight Crime, a not-for-profit that studies organized crime in Latin America and the Caribbean, is all in. One of their recent reports sounds like a Netflix elevator pitch. Female prisoners in Venezuela become cell block bosses to survive. Well, at least somebody's covering it. The only thing I see wrong with this, and most of the other articles that talk about women doing something crazy, is that they make it sound like they're the victims. Oh, did Lorena Bobbitt cut off her man's sausage? That's justice for you. Oh, did that chick just key someone's car? Looks like we have another cheater on our hands. Oh, did Cardi B drug random Johns, take advantage of them without protection, and steal their money? Man, things are getting rough out here. Sure glad she's in a better place. I mean, come on. Venezuela has collapsed horribly over and over in the last century. But you don't see articles documenting how men struggle to become cell block bosses to survive. It's this kind of crap that makes women do whatever they want, whenever they feel like it. It's why we now find situations like this everywhere on the internet, but never on the news. It's the disease we see everywhere, but those in power just refuse to talk about it.
Why is it that when we describe a man as hysterical, we mean he's a funny, funny man? Yet when we describe a woman as hysterical, we mean she's hysterical. Why is that?
I'll show you.
Completely unhinged, and nothing legal to stand in their way. The article continues with, what's really cemented this pulpy women behind bars image in the collective conscious, though, is Crime Has No Gender, a controversial Europol campaign that launched last August. Are women equally capable of committing serious crimes as men? Reads the news release. The female fugitives featured on Europe's most wanted website prove that they are.
Continue.
To show that women can be vicious sociopaths too, Europol asked 21 of the 28 EU member countries to select a single fugitive for their campaign. The methodology may have been flawed and the sample size small, but the gimmick worked. The bad girls theme was reflected in the head count. 18 females, 3 males. Elena Petrovich, Russia, who trafficked 9 young women into Spain and forced them to work as prostitutes, made the list. So did Dorota Kazmierska, Poland, a 44-year-old femme fatale who killed her husband by shooting him in the head. Then there's Zorka Rajic, Croatia, a blonde desperado who works in sales, narcotics, psychotropic substances, firearms, munitions, and explosives. I could keep going on here, but I think you're starting to get the point. When women are discovered to be the bringers of crime and general destruction, much faster than men ever were, the journalists try and question the integrity of the studies. It's why we see a franchise like Star Wars stripped down with messaging and movies like Sound of Freedom that shed light on actual issues, burned by worthless critics on Rotten Tomatoes. Not only that, but when we see prison shows and movies regarding women, they're always shown in a positive light, victims of circumstance that are simply doing anything they can to survive. It's the same argument we see for LonelyFans girls. They grow up in a country with countless opportunities, but the primary excuse for debasing themselves is that the world is cruel and cold, only to spend this supposedly hard-earned cash on a trip to Bermuda for more content. Additionally, if we were to include the actions that should be crimes, child support claims, alimony, perjury, and more, the female crime rate would be astronomically higher than anything we've seen from men. But that doesn't happen, so we see this.
My wife informed me that she wants a divorce, and I left just to
keep the peace.
Keep the peace, and I'm still here. The locks, I went back the next day and the locks were changed. And
I've been on the streets for about 30 years. And the reason why I become homeless is me and my wife got a crucial divorce. Bad marriage, a broken heart and hit the streets.
Me and my wife getting a divorce. Family, 1 minute they want you to stay. A week go by, time to leave again. So it's just very difficult.
Well, I went through a bad divorce, lost everything I had, and moved out here to start over. Went to the doctors, and doctors took me out of work because I got rheumatoid arthritis and my liver's failing.
Lost my house, my kids, my car to a violent relationship.
A broken marriage.
Relationship?
Yeah. Lost it. I have emotional issues I couldn't deal with. Car broke down. Ran into the wrong people at the wrong time, got robbed. Lost pretty much everything.
Divorce. Then I rented a room, and then I came down with epilepsy and started having seizures, and the guy didn't want me there. And the next thing I know, I was in a assisted living house.
Look, can we just talk for a minute?
Is that how long it takes for Rick to trace my location?
Come back, Morty. I miss you.
You miss the old me. You miss someone that loved you so much you never had to love him back.
How do you know I don't want to love you?
Because I'm not sick.
When the foundation of positive social change, it's frustrating to see a few present-day ladies moving away from effectively adding to a superior society. They can possibly shape networks through imagination, authority, and sympathy, characteristics that have driven progress on numerous occasions. However, at this point, Rather than diverting that impact, a couple appear to have picked the way of personal circumstance, leaving the truly difficult work of cultural advancement to whoever else will move forward. We should be genuine. When ladies focus on self over aggregate development, it doesn't simply pump the brakes, it breaks the cooperative soul that networks depend on. Society needs all kinds of people to make an appearance and offer their exceptional assets of real value. The greatest difficulties we face request collaboration and shared values, not a retreat into individual increase. Rather than zeroing in on divisions or limiting any association with obligations, the present ladies could be embracing their ability to bind together and elevate. Their commitments are as basic as could be expected for a reasonable, flourishing society. By moving forward and effectively partaking, they can reignite that soul of progress and local area building, something we frantically need to continue to push ahead together. Separate from hitsmen like a cargo train, shaking their close-to-home, monetary, and social security. For the majority, it's a seismic commotion, setting off disconnection, a feeling of misfortune, and at times, a through-and-through re-examination of their place in connections. In the meantime, a few ladies appear to float through separate like it's a popular self-rehash. Time to move on to better things, enabled belief system. Certainly, it's engaging for some. However, according to a person's viewpoint, it seems as though they're leaving without the slightest hesitation, leaving men with the close-to-home cleanup. This dissimilarity in how separation is taken care of strikes a nerve. Watching ladies apparently dust off their mind and continue on can extend the sting for men. It makes them careful, even attentive, about wandering once more into connections. Who needs to pursue cycle 2 of expected monetary strain and inner strife, all while stressing over an absence of responsibility or reflection from the opposite side? Assuming connections will endure post-separate, all kinds of people need to confront the hard insights about what separate truly involves. It's not only a new beginning, it's an example in common, getting it, open correspondence, and regard. Without those, any new association chances being spooky by similar unsettled fears and old stuff, setting up an encore no one needs. And that concludes today's discussion on MGTOW voice. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to stay updated on future videos. Share your thoughts in the comments below, and I'll see you all in the next video.